Hello and welcome to Study Buzz. In this video, I will be talking about conditional sentences, in particular, second and third conditionals. In my previous video, I discussed zero and first conditional sentences. So, before we start the second and third conditionals, let us revise the zero and first conditional sentences. So the zero conditional is also called the factual or the real conditional because we use it to talk about facts, things that are real in the world, and we also use it to talk about habits, rules, and to give instructions. First conditional sentence is used for the real possibility, but the difference is that we are not talking about 100% certain things. We are talking about real possibility, means things might happen or might not happen, means we are not talking about 100% certain things. And we use the first conditional when we believe the condition and the result can happen in reality, but they are not 100% sure, like the zero conditional. And it is formed by using the present tense in the conditional part, conditional clause, and the future tense in the result clause. And in the zero conditional, present tense is used in the both clauses, in the conditional clause as well as is in the result clause. So now moving on to the second conditional sentences. The second conditional is used to imagine present or future situations that are impossible or unlikely in reality. Second conditional sentences are useful for expressing outcomes that are completely unrealistic or will not likely happen in the future. And the correct way to structure second conditional sentences is to use the simple past in the if clause, or we can say in the conditional clause, and would in the main clause. And we can also use auxiliary modal verbs such as could, should, would, might in the main clause also, depending on the context we are using the sentence. And it talks about the thing which expresses the unrealistic or unlikely outcome. So we can understand this with the help of some examples, like here given some sentences. If I had more time, I would travel the world. If I won the lottery, I would buy a car. If I knew her name, I would tell you. If they lost the game, they wouldn't go to the finals. And if you go too close to the flames, you would get burned. Now in all these sentences, you can notice that it is talking about an unrealistic outcome, or a situation which is completely imaginary. It's not talking about real things or real possibilities. It is talking about unreal situations. And it is important to use a modal auxiliary verb in the main clause when using the second conditional mood to express the unlikelihood that the result will actually happen. And the structure of the second conditional clause is that we use simple past tense in the if clause or in the conditional clause, and would plus infinitive in the result clause. And as I have told you earlier, that these clauses can be rearranged. The position of the clauses is flexible. You can you can put the conditional clause first and the result clause second, and you can also use it in a way vice versa, means second means result clause first and conditional clause second. And we can also use some more words in place of if, for example unless and supposing. Now the third conditional sentences, this is used for no possibility at all. The third conditional sentences are used to explain that present circumstances would be different if something different had happened in the past. These sentences express a condition that was likely enough but did not actually happen in the past. So in this third conditional sentence, we are talking about something which has happened in the past, and in present situation, in present time, we cannot change it. It is a kind of like regretting something. When using the third conditional, we use the past perfect. That means in the conditional clause we use had plus past perfect, had plus past participle, that makes past perfect in the conditional clause, and would have plus past participle in the result clause. Now we can understand it with the help of an example. If I had played better, I would have won. Now you can see that it is talking about a completely hypothetical or unrealistic condition. This thing has already happened. We cannot change it. We are talking about something happened in past. Okay, now we can also use could and should in place of would, depending on the context of the sentence. So auxiliary modal verbs can also be used in the result clause. The third conditional mood expresses a situation that could have only happened in the past if a certain condition had been met. The third conditional refers to an impossible condition in the past, and its probable result in the past. These sentences are truly hypothetical and unreal because it is now too late for the condition or its result to exist. There is always some implication of regret with the third conditional sentences. The reality is the opposite of what the sentence expresses, and and it uses the time past tense and past time. The time is past and a situation is hypothetical, means it is completely unreal and hypothetical. Let us try to understand all the conditional sentences which we have discussed so far with the different combinations of verb forms. If I complain, no one ever takes any notice. If I complain, no one will take any notice. The first one is the zero condition. We are talking about a factual thing. And the second one is the first condition. We are talking about a possibility, but it may happen or may not happen. If I complained, no one would take any notice. This is the second conditional, and it is unrealistic condition we are talking about. and if I had complained, no one would have taken any notice. Now, this one is the third conditional sentence, and it is talking about some situation in past, and now nothing can be changed. Okay, now this is an exercise, a quiz for you. Complete these sentences and write your answers in comment box. If I had left earlier, if you had called me, if she would studied more, if you had lent me your car, if I had prepared more. Give your answers, complete these sentences on the basis of whatever we have discussed in this video on the conditional sentences. Okay, that's it for this video. If you like the video, subscribe my channel.